Hey, thanks for watching. I decided to post some commentary with this video after watching the footage when I got home. I realized that made a kind of a major mistake here. Fortunately, it didn't result in any negative effects, seemingly, although I can maybe comment on that in a minute. But if you watch here, when I clip in on the left riser right here, picking it up, and I didn't make sure the A's are on the top, and in fact they're on the bottom. So when I get everything flipped over here, the what's going to end up being the left side riser is actually 180 degrees backwards in my carabiner. So not exactly what we're looking for, and obviously I wasn't paying close enough attention when I clipped in. And for whatever reason, kind of picked up that other riser. Just normally I'm a little more OCD about it, should we say. But you'll see here on my reverse launch, that riser is definitely not looking correct, but I didn't notice it. The wing comes up okay. And had a nice little breeze here to get me going. I just kind of lifted right off the ground, no big deal. Now the rest of the flight went pretty normal. I can't really say that there was anything wrong. And in fact, like I said, I didn't notice this until I was watching the footage. But kind of thinking back on this flight, there was a couple of moments where stuff, if I had been paying more attention to kind of just little subtle things, I think, there were things that were kind of cluing me in, even from the beginning, before I was off the ground. In fact, before I was even clipped in. So you'll see here the riser is not in the orientation it should be. The trim tab should not be facing you when you're in the air like this, but like I said, I didn't feel anything while I was flying. But when I was clipping in, the one where there's a few things I did, kind of thinking back on this, I did notice I should have maybe paid more attention to. After I clipped in the risers, and this is, keep in mind, for a reverse launch, I was kind of pulling my risers out and kind of flipping them over so that the A's are facing up in preparation for the reverse. And when I did that motion, it felt a little bit weird. But in the end, I saw two sets of A's facing me, and so I didn't think there was anything wrong. But it didn't feel right, and the only way I can describe it is that the twist seemed to take less effort than it should have, and that's evidently because I was only twisting one riser. The other one was already facing up because it was backwards. So that was kind of the, I had an opportunity. If I'd been paying more attention during my clip, and I think I could have caught that and should have been paying more attention to what was going on, especially since probably only like a quarter of my launches have been reverse. And I think maybe because, reverse launches seem to be a little bit easier in terms of getting the wing up, less effort. I think maybe there was a little bit of like, reverse is easy, so you end up paying maybe a little bit less of attention. So just kind of I thought an opportunity to kind of call that out, especially for new pilots. You start to get to the point where you're feeling pretty comfortable with what you're doing, and that's when things like this happen. Now, fortunately, in my case, this didn't result in any accidents or injuries or anything like that. Like I said, the flight went fine, and in fact, in the scope of things, is probably not super serious. I think I've seen other YouTubers make the same mistake. I'm pretty sure. But at any rate, I figured it would still be a good kind of thing to call out, especially I'm going to post this video and people might see that, and I figured, well, I'll just go ahead and call it out. Hey, I messed up. But I got down back to the ground and everything was fine. The other thing I did notice during the flight was, for the first time, I kind of felt a sense of, wanting to be twisted in the, in relationship to the wing, like a very, very minor sensation of that wanting to be induced, where I've never had that sensation before. And on the second flight of this day that we're watching now, I didn't have that sensation at all. So I'm kind of thinking that might have been attributable to the riser being in backwards on the left side during that first flight. But otherwise, this is a great night. Got some really nice air here during the second flight, during the sunset. Got some relatively cool footage. I guess I'll kind of leave you to it. Get a shot there of what a riser should look like from your vantage point in the air. And yeah, you will see here, I guess, next thing to mention, another maybe possible learning point here is footwear. I had neglected to put on the right shoes before I left the house this day, and I did have boots with me, but the field wasn't that wet, where it's been pretty kind of mushy in my experience past couple months, but this is kind of the driest it's been, so I was like, I don't need the boots. And so I just had my tennis shoes on with not very good grip in terms of slippery conditions, and it was just starting to get dewy, and you'll see here for a brief second both of my feet appear in frame, and kind of didn't really come down like I wanted, but didn't break anything, so, but not exactly graceful either. Still trying to stick my landings. It's one thing I'm kind of having to iron out. My takeoffs have kind of gotten right into, other than this clipping and backwards thing, but anyway, or backwards riser. But anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.